What's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning in for today's episode of Detail Garage. Spring is here, which means that now our cars are going to be outside more. We're going to be enjoying that warmer weather, but what we want to do before we bring out our cars is make sure that they look their best. So we brought in this Kia, and over the winter months, it's obviously gotten rained on. It's gotten all kinds of contamination that pours the paint. And even though it was sealed and waxed before it went into its winter vacation, we want to make sure that we remove any of the old coatings that's on the surface, and we're going to give it a new fresh start. And that's what we're going to show you guys how to do today, and that's going to be the right process of restoring your vehicle right after the winter months. So now we're going to begin with the dirtiest area, and that's going to be your wheels. And brake dust and things like that accumulate on the surface because, again, as you're dealing with your winter months, driving out in inclement weather, it's not exactly the time that you want to be outside detailing your car. So over the months of being in that kind of condition, it builds up with brake dust and road grime or salt, wherever basically you live, that kind of stuff collects on your vehicle, and this is going to be the dirtiest area. So we're going to start by cleaning that, and the first step is to rinse it down. That's going to knock down the loose stuff or the heavier brake dust. And then I'm going to show you a couple products that I like to use on my own vehicles, and these are all just going to be my suggestions of the best way to clean your car, especially after those winter months. So now that we're going to be starting with the wheels, we have our bucket set up here, and what we're going to be doing is using a few brushes with a few of the products that I've chosen. And this is a great way to clean up any kind of brake dust or old dressings, and again, anything that builds up inside of the wheel liner. Now inside the bucket here we have our large red rocket brush, which we're going to be using to get inside of the spokes and the barrel of the wheel, and then a Nifty Brush, which cleans off the dressings off the tire, and then also the green flag tip brush, which is a very soft bristle that cleans away any of the brake dust that's accumulated on the face of the wheel. And to help assist us with that, we're going to be using some Diablo wheel gel, which is safe for any kind of finished wheel. So a lot of guys ask, what do you use on matte finishes or powder coated, chrome, OEM? Diablo wheel gel is going to be a safe bet for any kind of finish. So if you're looking for the right wheel cleaner, this is the way to go. We're just going to add a couple ounces to the bucket. And then to assist and also give us some more cleaning power, we're going to be using some sticky citrus wheel gel. And this is what I like to spray into the brushes to add more lubrication because, again, we don't want to add any kind of imperfections or scratches because it would look terrible, and also that's an area where brake dust will accumulate. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen a brown finish on a wheel, and typically what happens is either it will pit and accumulate in one spot, or on a scratch it builds up in that area and it makes it really noticeable. So adding lubrication prevents any of those kind of imperfections. And then lastly, we have some diluted orange degreaser, and this is what we're going to use to clean off the buildup of mud and dirt that's inside of the wheel liners, and it safely removes anything that's on those plastics to reveal that factory look. So begin by activating the bucket using a hose. And then we're also going to rinse down the wheel. This knocks down the loose stuff. And a common question we get asked is, why do we start with the wheels? And basically you just saw, just by rinsing it down, if we had washed the body and rinsed it off and dried and everything like that, you just see the overspray that's going to be from the wheels. And also as we scrub the wheel, it flings a lot of material off of the surface. So if you were to clean the wheels last, you're going to have to go back and dry or possibly rewash the vehicle. So there's a method to the reason why we start with the wheels, and that's just so we can work as efficiently as possible. Now we're going to take the red rocket brush and also some sticky citrus wheel gel. I like to spray it into the brush, and a liberal amount is fine because you don't want to scratch the surface. You only have one chance to prevent those kind of scratches and swirls. So spray the surface down, give it a moment to dwell. This is also great for your calipers. You can also spray it inside of the barrel. And the long design of the red rocket helps to get all the way to the back of the wheel. This way, as you're looking at it, you don't see a brown spot where there was brake dust built up, or water spots. Just gently scrub and let the foaming action do all the work. So now working around the wheel using the red rocket brush, this gently removes any kind of brake dust or road grime from the barrel of the wheel. Then we move on to the green flag tip brush with the assistance of some sticky citrus wheel gel. And this cleans off the face where you're going to get most of your buildup because this is obviously where things are going to land. And this has a larger, softer bristle which helps to clean away the flat surfaces of the wheel. Next, using the Nifty Brush, this is what we use to clean off old dressings, grease, tar, or anything that's from the tire. You can also use this to clean your plastic wheel liners or even the fabric wheel liners that have built up of road grime or grease or anything that can basically be accumulated inside of the wheel that gets flunked on top of the car. And also using the green flag tip brush to get the plastics as well. So now that we just finished doing the really nasty stuff, which is cleaning the wheels, we can move on to the body, and that's gonna be the fun part where we use the foam cannon. But before we do that, we're gonna set up our buckets here. And as you see, we're using the 2-bucket method, which is pretty standardized now in the detailing experience and the detailing program. And we're gonna be using 2 dirt traps, and we place them in at an angle and push them all the way to the bottom. And if you're unfamiliar with what a dirt trap is or what it does, basically what that's going to do is it helps to filter out any kind of abrasive particles or dirt that you bring from the vehicle, and it forces it underneath those cones, and it helps release from the noodles of your wash mitt. This way you're not bringing it back to the car. Now we'll also set up our foam cannon while we're over here. And I've chosen to use some citrus washing gloss, which helps to add a lot of lubrication as we wash, but it also gets down to the really stubborn stuff, so it helps loosen it and also softens it so we're not scratching as we wash. I'm going to start by shaking it up because this is a concentrated soap. And we'll add a couple ounces to our foam cannon and also to our wash bucket. And we're also going to add some Clean Slate because, again, this is going to be the first wash of this new year, or the first real detail of this new year. And we want to remove any of the old coatings or anything else that's on the surface so that we can ensure that now that we're going to be adding new coatings or new waxes and sealants, that it bonds directly to bare paint, and also is going to help it last as long as possible. So we'll add a couple ounces as well to the foam cannon and to the wash bucket. And this strips away any old glaze, sealant, waxes, or any really stubborn stuff. So it helps to ensure we got a fresh surface. And then we'll just reattach the top and mix the whole solution together. I use this stirring motion rather than a shaking motion to prevent as much of the foam from being created inside of the canister, because we want it to aerate properly. So by stirring it, we're just mixing the solution together rather than violently shaking it, causing the foam to create inside of the bottle. Before we get to all that, we're going to start by rinsing down the vehicle just like we did with the wheels, and this is going to knock down the heavier loose stuff that's on the top and on the flat panels, and then we're going to move on to the foaming process. Now we can all agree that using a foam cannon is a lot of fun, but a lot of people are skeptical of what the purpose is or why we use it. And as you see here, it lays down a thick layer of foam, which makes your car look like it's been outside in the elements of some kind of mountain range. But basically what the foam is doing is it's loosening up any of the abrasive particles of dirt or anything that lands on the vehicle. And it's going to soften it so it helps to lubricate it as it washes away off the vehicle. This way you're not scratching it or causing any kind of imperfections, but also, let's say you're working on a very large car and you don't want to be out there with a wash mitt scrubbing the whole time. So this helps to cut down on your wash process. But again, more importantly, it's going to help you guys from installing any kind of swirls or scratches. Now we're going to move on to the washing process. We're going to be using our 3-way wash mitt. And by 3 ways, we mean we have one side with these long dread noodles. Then we have a scrubbing side for your dead bugs, and then one final side for maybe just your light duty scrubbing of maybe some stubborn water spots or anything that's on the vehicle, such as bird droppings. We're going to grab some foam here, which acts as our lubrication. And just by using a couple ounces of citrus washing gloss, that gave you that thick layer of foam, because Clean Slate by itself doesn't foam very well, but with an additive such as citrus washing gloss or maybe your favorite soap, it helps to really boost it. Now we're going to wipe away anything that's on the surface. And again, this is taking care of your old layers of glaze, sealant, and wax. So we can start with a fresh canvas. We want to make sure that we're working in linear motions or straight lines, because I'm going to keep beating this one, but whenever you're working on a car and you pick up something abrasive, and if you work it in a circular motion, that causes a swirl. And I'm sure we've all seen it where the car has this spiderweb look, or it's got just circular motions all over it. That causes a really deep scratch because it's not the same plane as you go. It's going to be deeper around one of the edges, just like going around a racetrack. So if you can avoid installing those kind of really bad imperfections, this is the best way to make sure that, one, you can fix it, and also that your car, looks its best for, again, as long as possible. So if you're working in linear motions, you reduce the chances of creating a swirl, and that's going to be, again, something that's really hard to remove, and it just looks awful. Now we'll come back to our second bucket, and we're forcing the dirt that's on the surface, and we're going to push it underneath the cones of the dirt trap. Just like using a washboard, you're helping to loosen up any kind of filth. And then we're going to wring it out outside of the bucket. This just to ensure that we don't bring any kind of filth back into the clean water. We'll grab some more soap and we'll keep on washing. The final step of the wash process is obviously going to be the drying method, and we're going to be using our woolly Mammoth towel because one, it's very plush, so it's not going to install any swirls or scratches, but since it's plush, that means it's going to attract a lot of water. It absorbs it, so you don't have to use multiple towels or constantly wring it out. So you only need one towel for a vehicle this size, and it just gently removes any kind of water or any kind of water spots that are on the surface. Now, before we close out today, we're going to go over what we did, and that's going to be the whole process of basically bringing your car back after those winter months. From sitting in the rain or snow or wherever you live where you're going to get those really harsh elements, you want to make sure that you strip off any kind of old wax or coatings that may have trapped any kind of water spots or contamination in the pores of the paint. So that's why I use Clean Slate with citrus washing gloss to help safely carry it off of the surface. And then we also showed you guys how to properly clean your wheels to remove any kind of old dressings or brake dust, and also to clean up your wheel wells. And going along with your wheel wells, you can use that same process of using orange degreaser and your favorite brush to clean your undercarriage as well, because I know a lot of you guys live in an area where it's going to be snowing and you have road salt, so you want to make sure you get all that off so it doesn't start eating away at your exposed metal finishes, because again, that's going to cause rust. So getting all that off as soon as possible is going to, again, keep your car looking its best for as long as possible. Now also, as you're detailing your car after these winter months, this is a great time to look for any kind of possible imperfections, such as maybe some staining or maybe anything that kind of hurt your vehicle. Like we clean the wheel here and it's got a crack in the sidewall. So this is something you want to keep in mind as you're detailing, because this is the time to look out for imperfections that could potentially cause damage down the road. So as you're detailing, keep your eyes open for things that your car is trying to tell you. And obviously these products can be checked out on our website, chemicalguys.com, or at your local detail garage. If you liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and drop your comments down below for future videos. We'll see you guys next time.